This is an overview of some of the Minecraft accessibility features and the custom visual, audio, and physical settings. The first one, view bobbing, may benefit those with visual sensitivities as it can often trigger nausea and headaches. You can see the camera is going to bounce as they walk along, as well as the player's hand is now moving back and forth. We're also going to turn off clouds. Clouds can not only help computers with minimal resources, but it can also help minimize distractions and movement-related vision difficulties. We will now turn on auto jump, the sneak toggle, and the sprint toggle, which can assist gameplay as well as physical access. Auto jump means that a player can move forward without having to press the jump button whenever they get to a jumpable block. Having the sneak and sprint toggles activated means that the player does not have to hold down the sneak or sprint button while moving forward or doing a tool action. It can also help gameplay if you're in an area with lots of cliffs. Having sneak and sprint in hold mode means that you have to hold down the key at the same time as you're doing your action. In this case, when the person pushes the sneak button, instead of holding, they're actually going to just bounce up and down. You can also change features such as mouse sensitivity and allow for touchscreen mode if you're using a device such as Microsoft Surface. Mouse sensitivity can translate to how fast or how much your character turns based on the amount of movement of your mouse. So if someone is using a microcontroller or alternative mouse, it can greatly reduce the physical effort of moving around. Similarly, all the buttons can be bound to a different key to allow for easier access to functions. So for example, if someone mainly has use of their left hand, the keys on the right hand side of the keyboard can be remapped closer to the left hand side of the keyboard. Subtitles in Minecraft are minimal, but they can alert players when enemies, other players, or environmental items are making noise. Subtitles are located in the bottom right of the screen and cannot be moved or change the font style. They are very limited in their direction, however they do show left or right arrows. Continuing with audio features, Narrator makes use of the Windows Narrator and generally helps people with visual disabilities.
Narrator narrates all button. Press tab, high contrast, off button. Menu options, game menu. Use mouse cursor or tab button to select element.
It can also be very useful for players who have difficulties with literacy or need things like text to be read
Game
out
menu.
loud.
Options. Use mouse accessibility settings. Narrator narrates chat. Narrator narrates system button. Narrator off.
High contrast changes the user interface and menus. Unfortunately, you cannot change the type of colors or the font style. Text chat background and opacity changes the transparency for the chat and commands. Lowering it down, you will then see the text is gray on a translucent gray background. And then when it is bumped up, it'll be a solid black background with white text. There are other content-based visual effects that can add to visual fatigue and attention difficulties. Most of them are pretty subtle, but for some players who are sensitive to visual effects, including seizures for flashing light, these can become very useful to turn off. You can also avoid some of them by not entering these areas of the map. One example here is the shine on enchanted items. The player can change the speed of the shimmer or have it off completely. Players can change the lightning animation to flash on the whole screen or just have a background flash. This can also help with players who are easily startled by sudden noise or light. Lastly, there are particles, which is a subtle way of minimizing the amount of items on the screen. This is also useful for computers that struggle with a lot of animated items. Overall, Minecraft has many customizations and accessibility features, but it has a large focus on visual accommodations and really could use a lot of improvement.